The spotlight is on you. What do? Are you bold? Imagine you're at school and your classmates, along with your teacher, decide to throw you a surprise birthday party. What do? Are you bold? A famous fighter once said, "Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face." You see, we all want to be bold. We want to take a stand for Jehovah. But what happens when we're caught off guard? When we're punched in the face with situations in the ministry, at work, at school, or within the family? It goes without saying that every one of us will face situations wherein we need to be bold. One way that Jehovah helps us to be bold is by providing examples in the Bible of ones who were bold despite facing challenging circumstances, blows to the face. By imitating them, we can develop boldness. In this symposium, we will focus on 4 individuals and answer 3 questions. 1, what challenging circumstances did they face? 2, how did they look to Jehovah for boldness? And 3, how can we imitate their example today? First, we'll look at Enoch. What challenging circumstances did he face? Well, Enoch lived in an ungodly world. He came along in the 7th generation in the line of Adam. At this time, mankind was in a terrible condition morally and spiritually. In fact, Genesis chapter 4 and verse 26 talks about the days of Enoch's ancestor Enoch and says that people began calling on the name of Jehovah. You might think, well, that's a good thing, right? Sadly, it wasn't. Because the people were not calling on Jehovah in pure worship. Evidently, they were using Jehovah's sacred name in a blasphemous and disrespectful way. They may have applied Jehovah's name to idols, to themselves, or to other humans whom they pretended to approach God in worship. Have you ever seen Jehovah's name used in a disrespectful way? How did it make you feel? It makes you sick to your stomach, right? It's disgusting. You see, that's what Enoch was surrounded by. To add to that, Enoch was also born into a world where wicked conduct had become the norm. Violence was everywhere. When Cain murdered his brother Abel, it started a trend that really snowballed. One of Cain's descendants even bragged and was proud of being more violent and more vengeful than Cain. It's almost like it was a competition. Who could be the most violent person alive? In such an ungodly world, where the majority of Adam's offspring were not like him, Enoch may have felt alone. Have you ever felt that way? We likewise live in an ungodly world. We are surrounded by wickedness. The majority of the world is not like us. At times, we may feel alone when we're punched in the face with situations. If you've ever felt that way, and we all have, then take to heart Enoch's example. What, though, enabled him to be bold despite these challenging circumstances? Enoch was different than everyone else. What was the difference between Enoch and so many other descendants of Adam? Well, the Bible tells us what was different about him at Genesis chapter 5, and we'll look at verses 22 and 24. That's Genesis chapter 5. We'll start with verse 22. It says, after becoming father to Methuselah, Enoch continued to walk with the true God for 300 years, and he became father to sons and daughters. Verse 24, Enoch kept walking with the true God. Then he was no more, for God took him. You know, Enoch was the first person described here in the Bible as walking with God. He was different. And these verses say that he continued and kept walking with God throughout his life. How did he do that? Well, think about walking with another person like your mate. Everyone has a unique way of walking. Different strides, different pace. I'll use my wife and I as an example. Now, I won't say that my wife has short legs, but let's just say that my legs are a little longer. So, if we're walking together, and we walk like we normally do, we're not going to be walking together for very long, because we walk differently. The distance will be created between us. But if we conform how we walk, I walk a little slower with a slower stride, shorter stride. She walks a little faster with a longer stride. You see, now we're walking side by side. We're walking stride for stride in harmony. You see, Enoch had to conform how he walked. Everyone around him walked in a different way. But Enoch was able to walk with Jehovah stride for stride by conforming, by living in harmony with Jehovah's will. And this allowed him to stay side by side with Jehovah and to have a close friendship with him. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 5 also says that Enoch exercised faith. And